When it comes to having an identity crisis, Majin Buu is probably the most difficult villain in Dragon Ball to actually figure out. So on this edition of Dragon Ball Lost in Translation, we're going to talk about the actual naming conventions for the different forms of Buu. Kid Buu, Super Buu, Buuhan, Buu Tanks. We're going to analyze these names, talk about their origins, and lastly, reveal the actual names for these forms.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
As I have stated before, when Funimation was first dubbing Dragon Ball Z back in the late 90s and early 2000s, they had a very limited pool of resources to pull from. Based upon interviews and research that I have done, I've determined that Funimation not only did not have access to the original scripts, but also did not have a direct contact with the creative team at TOEI. Therefore, this explains why there are so many dub changes. Some of them were as a result of this. Some of them were as a result of Barry Watson's strange and somewhat insulting outlook of what Dragon Ball should be. But that's a video for another day. Nonetheless, when it comes to the Majin Buu forms, even the names that Funimation use confuse people. But what's interesting to me is when you dig down deep and when you look into it, some of the names of these forms were not even from the series, and some were even from the fans themselves. Let's start with the original Majin Buu that we see in the series. He has been commonly referred to by fans as, of course, Majin Buu, which is his real name, Fat Buu, and Mr. Buu. Of course, as I've stated in a previous edition of Dragon Ball Lost in Translation, the Viz manga refers to him as Jin Buu, which is completely incorrect because Majin Buu is not a Jin. Majin Buu directly translates to Demon Man Buu. As I've said before as well, the suffix Jin in Japanese refers to people of. So essentially his name is Demon Person Buu or Demon Man Buu. It's however you want to state it. Majin Buu is not some kind of evil genie. He's just a demon. I do find it a bit of a head scratcher though that Funimation would translate Saiyajin as Saiyan and Namek Seijin as Namekian, but for Majin, which is essentially the same suffix with the same representation of the word, they just kept it as Majin rather than Ma Person or Demon Buu or anything like that. But you know what? It's cool because Majin Buu is a cool name. I would actually prefer Majin Buu over the Demon Buu. It's like the Demon Kane in wrestling, but that's another story. So then we have the Buu that leaves Fat Buu's body in Dragon Ball Z episode 255. This Buu is commonly referred to as Evil Buu or Skinny Buu or Gray Buu. Those are all, of course, essentially fan names, although Evil Buu is rooted in the actual name of the character. This Buu, which is essentially the pure concentrated evil that was inside of Majin Buu, is known as Majin Buu Junsuyaku, which translates to Majin Buu Pure Evil or Pure Evil Majin Buu. What's interesting to me is that in some of my old fan sub tapes from the 90s, they actually refer to Kid Buu as Pure Evil Buu. And so if you go back and you look through the archives of the internet, you may find the Kid Buu saga being labeled the Pure Evil Buu saga or the True Evil Buu saga, but that's not the case. Pure Evil Buu is this Buu. Moving on, we then have Super Buu. Now, what's fascinating about Super Buu is that Super Buu is a name that Funimation adopted from Japan, but not from Toei. The first time I ever saw Super Buu was when I played Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22 on PlayStation 1. That is the first time he is referred to as Super Buu. Of course, his actual name is Majin Buuaku, which translates to Majin Buu Evil or Evil Majin Buu. He's not pure evil like Gray Buu. He's evil in the sense that the evil Buu consumed Fat Buu and made Majin Buuaku. I find it very funny, though, that Funimation, as well as a lot of the fans, adopted the Super Buu name, not just from the fan base of the previous generation, but from a Dragon Ball Z video game. It's not official Toei. But what about all of Majin Buu's absorptions? Well, there's tons of names for them, such as Super Gotenks Buu, Super Gohan Buu, Buu-Tanks, Buuhan. One of the more common ones I've seen for years was Ultimate Buu, which I think is a great name. These are all fan-made names, though, and there's nothing wrong with them. I don't feel insulted by those names. The official names, first of all, the Majin Buu with Gotenks is called Majin Buu Aku Gotenkshu Kyushu, which translates to Evil Majin Buu Gotenks Absorbed. Then there's, of course, the very brief Buu that we see when the fusion runs out, when he has Piccolo's cape. This one is Majin Buu Aku Piccolo Kyushu, which translates to Majin Buu or Evil Majin Buu Piccolo Absorbed. Even though he has Goten and Trunks inside of him, because Piccolo by himself is more powerful than Goten and Trunks as an individual character, he takes precedence over what Buu looks like, and thus that is why it's Evil Majin Buu Piccolo Absorbed. Then, of course, there's Ultimate Buu or Buuhan, the most powerful of the Buus, according to many. Majin Buu Aku Gohan Kyushu, which is Evil Majin Buu Gohan Absorbed. Then there's Buu's final form, and the form, or at least the final form that we see in the series, which is Kid Buu. Kid Buu has been known throughout the years as Kid Buu, Pure Evil Buu, Dark Buu, True Buu. The name Kid Buu, although Funimation has adopted it as an official name, is 100% fan-made. It is a fan-made term. Majin Buu Junsui, a.k.a. Pure Majin Buu, is the actual name of that form because it is the purest original form of Majin Buu, as you know when you watch the series. So hopefully with this video I have shed some light on the origins of some of these names and maybe made you smirk a bit at the fact that fan-made names have actually become official merchandise names. To me, it's very interesting that the fans can actually be that strong to have that kind of an impact. But nonetheless, thank you for watching this edition of Dragon Ball Lost in Translation, and I hope that some of this information has been absorbed into your cerebral cortex. I'll catch you down the road.